Someone said he is the wildest player in the NBA. He had made bold statements before entering the NBA. If the NFL picks me, then I will give up basketball to play American football tomorrow. He even stated that even if Jordan is standing in front of me, there is no stopping me. Such a player is in the NBA where strength speaks. But he can go from arrogant words to feats. Become the new face of the league today. I'm Shao Jia. Today I will take you into the story of the new Timberwolf King of Minnesota. The story of Anthony Edwards. His explosive and watchable style of play. Has a big heart when the man is in charge. And self-confidence beyond. In his 4th year of joining the league as the top pick. Now he's been selected to the All-Star twice. And even entered the discussion of the league's top scoring guards. Although Edwards often causes controversy outside the game. With his heavenly remarks. But in the game, Edwards can also put out a bright performance. Win the love of a host of fans. Even won a lot of praise from the famous writers. Even got the affirmation from James. The league of the future will be ruled by Edwards, Doncic and Alexander. This season's Edwards, with the Timberwolves firmly in the forefront of the West, is also infusing passion and energy into every game. If Towns is the artillery for the Timberwolves to attack the city and plunder the land, then Edwards is the key to the Timberwolves center. Now let us return to the story of Edwards. On August 5, 2001, Edwards was born in Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Edwards is in a love-filled family. Mother and grandmother together to take care of this family. Every Saturday, they would take Edwards and his brothers and sisters to have a buffet together. After dinner, then back to grandma's house together. Sometimes they would play basketball in the backyard. This was the happiest time for Edwards. For Edwards, who had moved around a lot, grandma's house is the most stable place for Edwards. Especially after her mother started chemotherapy. Grandma has provided a lot of help, because she herself had fought cancer for many years. So she knows how to take care of cancer patients. At first, Edwards was introduced to American football when she was 10 years old. She had shown her talent in multiple positions in the field. But in one game, Edwards was accidentally injured. Then a cast was put on him. With the cast on, Edwards felt like he was weight training. When he took the cast off, he found himself stronger, and even jumping higher than before. In his childhood, Edwards, watching his brothers ruthlessly dunking baskets in the backyard, he thought it was very cool. That's when he developed a great interest in basketball. This event led him to decide to get into basketball training. One night, Edwards had a sudden idea. He picked up a pen. On the wall of his room, wrote down the goals that came to mind. Future McDonald's All-Star. Future NBA player. When his grandmother discovered the graffiti on the wall, she was about to scold someone on the spot. But when she read those words carefully, her anger gradually turned into pride. Knowing her grandson had grand ambitions, she didn't ask Edwards to wipe off the words on the wall. Instead, she said to him, "For the goals you set for yourself, I hope you can achieve them." In the film footage, Edwards, in a football jersey, running fast in the field. No defender could reach him. After a spectacular game, Edwards looked at his grandmother on the sideline and gave a proud smile. Whether it was a football, basketball, or any sports match, his mother and grandmother would always cheer for him on the sidelines. No matter how noisy the game was, their voices could always pierce through the crowd and reach Edwards' ears. His mother and grandmother were his main motivation to move forward. As Edwards' ball skills continued to improve, his family's health continually deteriorated. In 2015, the two most supportive and loving people in Edwards' life, his mother and grandmother, died of cancer in succession. This was a big hit to 14-year-old Edwards. He knew there was no one in this world anymore who he could totally rely on and fully trust. Part of him felt dead inside. Edwards recalled his grandmother's last days, when she had told him that someday he would have to take care of this family. You know? At the time, he didn't understand, and even asked his grandmother, "We'll always take care of each other, won't we?" Until his mother and grandmother were both gone. That's when he understood, and was determined to make his family proud. The reason why Edwards chose jersey number 5. Because his mother and grandmother both died on the 5th. He put all his mind to basketball, and accepted systematic and formal training. The strict training made Edwards, who had lived by his talent. For the first time, he felt the hardship of basketball training. Even once had the idea of giving up. But whenever he thought of his mother and grandmother, he still stuck it out, and turned the results of the training into performance on the court. After entering high school, Edwards was impressive on the court, with his ambitious and explosive playing style. One violent dunk after another. The scoring skills that surpassed his peers in all aspects. He averaged 29 points and 9 rebounds, leading the team to win the 4-school league championship. Edwards also successfully fulfilled the first wish on the wall at his grandmother's house, to be selected for the McDonald's All-Star team, and he also participated in the star-studded Jordan training camp. Added with his brilliant performance in the AAU League, Edwards' values skyrocketed, and various major sports websites listed him as a 5-star high school student. He was the best scoring guard at the time. As one of the strongest high school students in the country, Edwards was one of the targets for many prestigious basketball schools. Finally, after much deliberation, Edwards decided to serve his hometown, join the University of Georgia. In his first NCAA tournament appearance, he scored 24 points and led the team to victory, breaking the record of human movie star Wilkins. On the court, Edwards showed the characteristic of being strong when meeting the strong, in the face of the top 5 ranked Michigan State University. While he only hit 1 shot in the first half, but Edwards was not hit. In the second half, he led a counterattack, scoring 31 points in the last 16 minutes, although he couldn't successfully turn the tide. But his brilliant performance. But people remembered deeply. Edwards' first season averaged 19.1 points per game, ranked first among freshmen in the United States, and was selected for multiple annual awards. Although some scouts believed his shooting stability and defensive focus need to be strengthened. But there's no doubt, he's the best scorer in that tier. Then came the year 2020. 19-year-old Edwards was draft eligible, just a short distance from the dream on the wall. But before he even entered the NBA, Edwards' remarks caused controversy. Before the draft, a reporter asked him, "When did you start liking basketball?" Edwards said, "I still don't like him very much. I like basketball. Yes, but that's because it's my job. I'm not a basketball fan. I hardly ever watch the week show. If I get picked by the NFL, I'll give up basketball, because it's more freedom on the football field. Can dance, can taunt opponents, but in the NBA this may result in a fine." Meanwhile, Edwards also stated he has the goal to become a rapper. When the reporter asked, "Like Lillard?" he responded, "I actually don't know what Damian is singing." Edwards' comments disappointed many fans who had high hopes for this potential top pick. A kid who hasn't even entered the NBA yet, ranting about wanting to play football, even seeming to look down on the league's recognized strongest rapper. Isn't this being too arrogant? On this, Edwards' trainer explained, "Edwards is just intentionally acting indifferent and arrogant. This is his way of staying happy. I even heard about his mother and grandmother." In this interview for the first time, Edwards may hide his vulnerabilities from everyone, but he takes basketball seriously and is always working hard to improve himself. Edwards' college coach also spoke up for him. Once when he came to visit our school, asked if he could bring a high school teammate. Edwards and his high school coach explained that it was Christmas break, and this teammate was from Eastern Europe, with nowhere to go. He didn't want him to be alone. He believes that Edwards is a young man with a pure soul, just like when a baseball star becomes the new owner of the Timberwolves. Edwards also said he didn't even know who the boss was once they got to know each other. Edwards even once called the boss, asking how he broke up with Jennifer Lopez. This is the true side of Edwards, even though he always gives people a feeling of being in control, and even somewhat arrogant. But before the draft, a workout with the Golden State Warriors, it was a big shock to Edwards. At that time, the Warriors trained Edwards in the same way that Kerr usually trains, which included heavy running plus shooting 5 times in a row. This tired Edwards out, and all the shots didn't go in. After the workout, Kerr told Edwards, "If we're going to use the second pick to draft you, you're not working hard enough right now." Both Kerr's and Edwards' trainers' training plans were very hard. On one hand, Edwards heard his idol Durant had also trained this way. On the other hand, the comment about not working hard enough was a big setback for him. So he immediately called his trainer and said, "Dude, I think we need to make some changes." This event also motivated Edwards to become a better version of himself. A few weeks later, Edwards was interviewed again. This time his answers were more serious. He also showed great passion for basketball. He said, "I'm really looking forward to the draft after the finals, though football means a lot to me. Now, basketball is my focus. My first choice. The first pick in the 2020 NBA draft. The Minnesota Timberwolves select Anthony Edwards." In 2020, because of the pandemic, the draft was held online. Edwards and his friends and family watched the big screen in front of them. He left the 2 most important positions next to him to 2 portraits, his mother and grandmother. Eventually, Edwards was recruited into the Timberwolves as the top pick and formally completed the last dream written on the wall at his grandmother's house: to become an NBA player. As you can see, my grandmothers. My grandmothers are right here and my mothers are right here. Their names are also printed on my clothes. They're always with me. Minnesota is located in the northern part of the United States. This place has an extremely cold climate, despite being located in a severely cold area. But the Timberwolves team history is never short of talented players full of passion. The former Wolf King Garnett is one of the representatives currently in the Timberwolves lineup. There's a full of talent. The double top picks obtained in 14, Wiggins and Bennett. In 15, another top pick center Towns was selected. In the eyes of many people, the Timberwolves' playoff push is just a matter of time. However, they only managed to clinch 1 win in the first round of the playoffs in 2018, under Butler's lead. Then they were sadly eliminated. There was even a team dispute at that time. Butler thought the young players in the team were not ambitious enough. Now with Edwards joining with his hot style, people are looking at him. Will he become the new king of the Wolves? Or become another talented star in Minnesota? Who can't live up to expectations? At the time, because the number 5 jersey was already in use, Edwards had to first choose the number 1 jersey to start his NBA journey and become the best player of the class. Rookie season, Edwards started from the bench. By the end of January, he only averaged 12.3 points, 1.6 assists, and 2.8 rebounds per game, compared to his bragging when he entered the league. Many fans thought, this top pick is definitely overrated. Some even suggested he should go back to playing football. However, the excellent rookie would make a quick adjustment in the second half of the season. After gradually gaining a starting position, Edwards began to perform well. First, in the February match against the Lakers, he scored 28.7 rebounds, 5 assists. This made the legendary scoring guard that many thought was Edwards' role model. Wade expressed on the show, "Edwards will become a more outstanding player than me." On February 20th, in the game against the Raptors, Edwards cut in from the baseline, first past a defender. After receiving the ball, he jumped up and violently dunked over Yuta Watanabe. This dunk was also voted as the dunk of the year. This dunk seemed to unblock Edwards' rim and 2 channels. After All-Star, 20-point games increased significantly. He even scored a career-high 42 points against the Suns. Also set the Timberwolves' rookie scoring record. The performance of averaging 19.3 points and 4.7 rebounds per game at the end of the season made him rank second in the Rookie of the Year rankings, only less than LaMelo Ball. Edwards' performance in his rookie season is enough to prove his seriousness for basketball. Although Edwards often pretends not to care, but his desire to win is very strong. His trainer once stated, "The team has arranged for Edwards to try different sports. Like table tennis. He hasn't won a single person, but Edwards himself watched a lot of training videos online. A week later he started beating others." Besides, Edwards doesn't like watching basketball games, but he can always be seen on his mobile phone, watching videos of top players playing. From Harden's step back to Irving's dribbling, Edwards always tries his best to learn, to enhance his basketball skill. The desire not to lose plus the ambition to become stronger. There is a reason why he was able to become the top pick. In his second season, Edwards continued to improve his own performance, especially in terms of perimeter shooting. He dispelled the doubts about him in the past. Soon after the start of the season, in the game against the Warriors, scored 48 points, including 7 three-pointers. In the January game against the Blazers, output 40 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Shoulder to shoulder with Melo, to become the second player in NBA history who was able to score 40 points at the age of 20 and have no assists. We also gradually see the shadow of a superstar in Edwards. According to the statistics at the end of the season, at the age of 21, he hit a total of 386 three-pointers, setting a record in NBA history. This season, Edwards averaged 21.3 points, and the Timberwolves successfully made it into the playoffs. Edwards shows his strength when faced with strong opponents, which was again revealed on the stage of the playoffs. In the first round, facing the second in the West, the Grizzlies, his performance didn't at all seem like it was his first playoff game in his career. Facing multiple defenders, he scored several times through individual plays. In the third quarter against Bain, he directly took a 3-point shot against his opponent, gave Morant a big block in the last quarter. In the first battle, Edwards scored 36 points for the team, leading the team to an unexpected victory. Even though he scored a game-high 30 points in G6, the Timberwolves were eliminated with a 2-4 loss. But the good news is that this superstar has shown the world his amazing growth ability. In this series, Edwards averaged 25.2 points, causing a bit of trouble for the Grizzlies. In the 2022 offseason, the star of Uncut Gems Adam Sandler recommended Edwards to the director, not just because he's mad, but because he's real. Let Edwards play a trash-talking NBA rookie in the movie. But his strength is very strong, and Edwards' performance in the movie is very eye-catching. His acting has been praised by many people. This might be his real performance, even though he's rising in different fields. But on social media, Edwards was widely criticized for making inappropriate comments, and was heavily fined $40,000 by the league. Later, Edwards apologized. "What I said was immature, hurtful and disrespectful. I feel very sorry. I have no excuses. In my growth process, I am not allowed to become such a person." Before the 22-23 season, the Timberwolves made a big trade. They got 3-time DPOY French tower Rudy Gobert with a 9-for-1 deal. Looking forward to him forming the strongest twin towers in the league with Towns. Let the Timberwolves' Big Three lead Minnesota further. Edwards' impressive performance in the playoffs on the field, combined with his wild style of play, good at creating all kinds of exciting scenes. His strength this season was recognized by the league. For the first time in his career, he was selected for the All-Star game, and during the player selection phase, he was first chosen by James, despite the acknowledgement from LeBron and the outside world. Edwards is not quite happy. This All-Star game, he is a replacement due to injury. He even claimed, "This does not count. I don't like people calling me an All-Star." His strong self-esteem does not allow this to happen. This season, Edwards' average score has risen to 24.7 points, ranked third in the distance. This year the Timberwolves broke into the playoffs again, competing with the hot contender Nuggets. In Game 2, Edwards left a deep impression on everyone, scoring a game-high 41 points, simultaneously setting the playoffs scoring record of the Timberwolves. Unfortunately, the overall performance of the team was not stellar. The Timberwolves are already 0-3 in danger before this game, but Edwards can't accept defeat. In the third quarter, he took over the game, savaged 16 points, leading the team to take the lead entering the final quarter. However, the Nuggets mounted an attack at the last moment, scoring 12 points and tying the game. Both teams entered overtime. Edwards once again hit a critical three-pointer. This finally determined the eventual victory of the game. Despite avoiding the fate of being swept, the Timberwolves were still eliminated by the Nuggets 1-4. Edwards once again showed a strong performance in the playoffs. Even the always harsh Piggy couldn't help but praise. Edwards will surely become a superstar. Fast forward to 2023 to 2024 season. During the offseason, Edwards represented the US team at the World Cup. He once said to the coach, he doesn't like always playing as a substitute. Cole told him, back then, Wade was a substitute for Kobe. To which Edwards replied, there is no Kobe on our team. Of course I am still willing to do this, but I expressed that I did not enjoy this. In the end, Edwards earned a starting position through hard efforts. Throughout the series, Edwards was very keen on shooting, assuming the role of the team's core. During the match with Lithuania, Edwards scored 35 points. He is the third player in American history to have such a high score in the World Cup. Unfortunately, they lost to Canada in the bronze match and had to settle for fourth place. After returning to the NBA, after a teammate departed, Edwards was finally able to switch back to his familiar jersey number 5, fighting for his mother and grandmother. This season Timberwolves coach Finch found the instruction manual for using the Twin Towers, making the team the #1 defense scoring rate in the entire league. On the offensive end, Edwards averages 26 points, ranked in the top 10 in the league. Together with Towns, their cooperation is becoming more mature. An average of 4.9 assists per game, setting a new career high. The Husky became the king of the Northwest Wolves overnight. Once climbed to the Western throne. The most noteworthy game, that must be the game against the Lakers. James hit the key ball. Once thought it was a 3-point tie, but after the referee watched the video, determined it as a 2-point shot, giving the Timberwolves the final victory. After the game, reporters interviewed Edwards for his opinion. He said, at the time, I didn't know it was a 2-point shot at all. I am ready to let the coach design the tactics for me. I was already prepared for the buzzer beater. From the conversation, we can see that Edwards can maintain such self-confidence no matter what the condition is. This season he has also provided many brilliant shots, including when facing the Pistons' free throw line dunk. The sliding distance made his teammates startled. After a game, he faced the Grizzlies and showed off a self-throwing and self-dunking shot from the penalty line. One person completed a wonderful dunk. Against the Spurs, Edwards used an ultra-high jump to make a slam dunk, once again igniting the crowd. There is also the putback slam dunk against the Pacers. Amazingly, because he flew too high and hit the backboard. Edwards' style of play is very enjoyable. This also makes him greatly loved. After 20 years from now, who do you think will be the face of the league? Alexander, Edwards. After me, Curry, and Durant retire, these two young men may continue to carry the torch. Edwards is really cool. I really like him. Tatum is also pretty good. He is the Eastern All-Star. There is also Doncic. These young people are very strong. I am looking forward to their performance. Furthermore, on the key jumper against the Heat, the basketball god is very similar from footwork to turning around to shooting. This has also sparked widespread discussion. The two people not only look somewhat similar, the revealed arrogance and confidence are also similar. Former teammate Beverly once praised Edwards had the chance to be a player of Jordan's level, but Edwards actually doesn't like this statement. Beverly, you're a good teammate. He said you could be the next Michael Jordan. What do you think? I wish they would stop saying that. Why? Because he is the best in the history of basketball, and I am far from him. If he is in modern times, do you think Jordan can stop you? Of course not. There's no chance. Do you know that he is one of the best defensive players in history? Yes, I know. I just don't think he can stop me. I'll give it my all. At the end of the game, make him remember my name. Edwards' arrogance reveals humility, because his answer is not based on blind arrogance. But as long as you play, no matter who the opponent is, can strive to defeat the opponent's competitive heart. It is more like an expression of self-confidence. Your halo of stardom. It's a focal point this season. People are talking about you. How does this season feel for you now? This season is interesting. I wouldn't say I have a celebrity halo, but our team does. We are united, doing well and achieving good results. LeBron recently said, when you look to the future, the league will be taken over by this new blood. He mentioned your name and Alexander's. I think he's right. No doubt about me and Alexander as well as Luka Doncic. How do you feel about yourself? Compared to the other two, I think I'm a better player. 100%. When Alexander heard Edwards' comments, he also expressed that he could fully understand this statement. Talking about the new generation of players, you and Luka. Edwards says, I'm stronger than those two. I saw it coming. He couldn't possibly say we're stronger than he is. That's how NBA players are. Especially players as talented as him. We all believe we are the best. We have the confidence to make a unique contribution on the court. So he thinks that there is absolutely no problem. Indeed, that's what you think. Must be. As Edwards' best friend in the Timberwolves, Towns often tells Edwards, "You must become the face of the NBA." Although Edwards doesn't like such words. But this season the Timberwolves achieved such a record. Edwards undoubtedly contributed. Full range of offensive skills. Active defensive attitude. Killer nature of absolute guts. Career playoff average score of up to 28 points. Edwards has the Timberwolves' most lacking quality. That is, the supergiant ability of being a one-man guard. As long as the injured Towns can return on time and keep his skills, then this year's playoffs, it will be the most promising year for the Timberwolves in recent years. Maybe in the future, when James, Curry, Durant retire, the future of the NBA will be handed over to Doncic, Alexander, and Edwards. Of course, we don't need to worry about Edwards' abilities on the court, but his off-court behavior definitely needs to mature further. Like after losing the game before. Furious, he threw a chair and accidentally injured someone. Or the emotional entanglement scandal he caused earlier. If Edwards wants to become the face of the league, he needs to become more mature and steady. Edwards recently mentioned again on a show, "If given the chance, I still want to be the first player in both the NFL and the NBA. But the premise is that I will do my job in the NBA first. Lead Minnesota to win the championship. Not only to fulfill the expectations of Timberwolves fans, but also to make his mother and grandmother proud." In 2023, he completed a maximum salary renewal for 5 years with the Timberwolves. Now Edwards no longer needs to squeeze into a small apartment with his siblings. The walls at home are clean. There are no words left by the pen. The environment at home is very quiet. There is no noise from children. Edwards will open his phone to search. He has done it many times. He knows how to find that film from over a decade ago. The little Edwards in the picture, wearing a purple football jersey. He runs really fast. No defender can touch him. After scoring, he would press pause. At that moment, he saw his grandmother sitting in the stands smiling. 1 minute later, he presses the pause button again. He would see his mother, who was sitting next to his grandmother, clapping and yelling loudly, even though he couldn't quite hear what his mother was saying. But Edwards knew he won't let her down. He will make his family proud. That's all for this video. My name is Xiaojie. Follow me as I continually bring you more of basketball. See you next time.